The major opportunity that we have is that Africa is really still at the beginning, at the infancy of its urbanization. 2/3 of our cities are yet to be built. The window of opportunity we have is relatively short. So it's predicted in the next 20 to 30 years, these cities will come. But it means that we still have the opportunity to get them right. And I think what this pandemic has shown us, not only in Africa, but across the world, is density sort of enables contagion. Evidence shows that it's 3 times more expensive to retrofit a city where people have already settled than to get it right from the start. So really, let's seize the opportunity. Let's ensure that we get those 2/3 of cities correct, but obviously not forgetting that the cities that we have and ensuring that they can become more resilient to future pandemics and other crises. We've got to understand the power of water and sewerage infrastructure. These are perhaps not the sexiest things to talk about. There's a lot of sort of hype around things like smart cities and everything else, but really we need to get the basics right. And water and sewerage infrastructure is really key in terms of making our cities function and managing these downsides of contagion. In the early 19th century, New York was ravaged by waterborne diseases, by cholera and everything else. And it was the understanding that these diseases were transmitted by water that really helped the city lobby to be able to get the finances to put the infrastructure in place. So by the early 20th century, all cities and local governments in the US were spending more on clean water than the whole federal government was spending in their total budget without the army, not taking into account the army and the postal service. But the high investment has a high payoff too, because it is the foundation of making the city function.
Well, I asked Haas to walk me through a day in a well-designed, well-run city. What does it look and feel like?
So I really like this question, and I sort of imagined it for myself and myself and my daughter, right? And what is it that we would love to see from a city? So I think, waking up in the morning, you're in a house that is affordable, that is clean, that is safe, but where you also know you have some ownership over the house, the property, either through an ownership contract or through a rental contract, such that you are assured that tomorrow no one is going to come and bulldoze it down, right? And I think that sense of security is really important as a very fundamental way that you can get up and you can be invested in your city. No one likes to talk about this, but we've got to take out our rubbish somewhere. And, when you take your rubbish out to the street, you want to ensure that it's collected. You want to ensure that it's disposed of in a way that is sustainable. And then schooling, I think, if I think about my own daughter, when she gets to schooling age, you want to be able to get them to school somewhere that is relatively close to your residence. So whether it be a walk or bike ride away or just a short public transport trip, but where you can ensure that they have affordable schooling and that it is of good quality. After you've dropped your kids at school, you want to be able to get to work. And here I think public transportation is really important because public transportation allows us to move large volumes of people at a low cost, both cost, if planned and built correctly. Then I think when you pick your children up from school, you want to be able to take them to somewhere where they can enjoy public space. And I think this is really critical. And then I think finally and importantly that when you get home, that you sit down and you pay your property taxes and your other taxes because you have a good understanding that none of these services can come for free. Not only implementing them, but maintaining them over time, understanding what you want from your city, but also contributing and giving back to your city.